Hi, Irvin Acosta. Thank you for accepting doing this interview. The first question that I want to ask you is, what is your favorite part or activity of your work and your list?
Okay. Hi, Adrian. Well, as a software developer, my favorite part of my job is learning continuously. I mean, I have to keep up with these new technologies every day, so I have to maintain myself learning new technologies. And my least favorite part, it's like the hard work of manual activities, for example, filling um, registries or requirements. Most of this would be applied to documents. Those would be my favorite and least favorite activities.
Okay. And how is the organization of your teamwork? You have coworkers in your area. How is the relationship with them?
Well, the organization of our team is based on agile. With this, I mean we move forward through agile development of process and technologies. Implementing this approach would help us deliver continuous um, value to the institution. And on the other hand, we used to keep ourselves in waterfall methodologies, but we put that aside and married to agile. And the coworkers I have in my area would could be 8 teammates that are scattered in the national campus of Tec de Monterrey, and the relationship with them is pretty good. I mean, I am sort of the manager of them, but we have this like friendship, teammate relationship that lead to sometimes better conversations instead of just like the bossy ones.
Okay.
And that would be it.
What are the most common activities that you do as part of your job?
The most common activities that I have to do are requirements for landing pages, Facebook lead forms, events in CRM. What else? I think about systems. Just to give a brief context of this, I am in admission area. I have to deliver technology for new coming students, and that would involve everything related to architecture, systems, most of these to gather leads to the institution.
And the cybersecurity is a very important topic in our times. How do you protect the information of the tech students? Do you think that the internet is a safe place?
Those are really important questions. I mean, we have to split them. And to begin with the cybersecurity of information of tech students, we have different approaches. I mean, we have the architecture of the information, we have the databases, and we have the guidelines that we have to implement to secure our information. To get this secured, we have to deliver protocols. And for example, if we create a system or a landing page in a provider server, this provider has to compile with our guidelines and the institutional guidelines to make the information safe. Most of these are treated as in the cybersecurity area, but we as software developers, we have to make our systems and landing pages and all the connections we have secure so we don't have any leak. And I would not consider the internet as a safe place because as it's something that we use in our everyday life, the more common it becomes, the more used it would be. and hackers and bad intentional people would take advantage of every single point that they reach to people. For example, and one common example would be like the virus or the phishing that we have in our browsers when we open strange websites or when we open strange emails. So this cybersecurity information, it's like a giant field that has different roots, but personally, I would not consider the internet a safe place.
Well, and as a platform creator, why do you think that the educational platforms are a problem for the students of this generation?
That's another interesting question. I think that educational platforms are focused to a specific target of students. They would not apply to, for example, a kindergarten child or elementary school. They are mostly focused to college students ever since they require us to keep ourselves steady in our seats most of the day. And it also requires a lot of focus on what the things we are doing. So it's a problem because as a society, we were accustomed to attend to some place and have chit chats with our partners, with our friends, with our teachers, and we are not accustomed to speak to our camera or to read a lot of documents to gather the information we didn't learn at the Zoom university. So that those would be like the main problems of this generation.
And when do you know that what you are creating is being successful?
This is another important question. We are moving forward to data-driven decision making, and this data that we get from our platforms tell us if what we are doing is successful or if we have to change the approach we're having toward them. For example, if we have a landing page for a specific major and we have only 10 leads and we have another landing for engineering that has 100 leads, we have to take that information into our strategy to change what we are doing and change the methodologies to gather more leads and making this decision driving would help us to waste less money on campaigns and strategies that are not being successful at all.
Do you think that what you do in the technology area is something that you can apply in a certain way in your real life?
Yeah, this is another really good question. I think we are in the golden age of technology. Everything that we are learning, everything that we are doing can apply to something in real life. I mean, since the use of smartphones, social media, social networks, everything that has communication to internet, technology is everywhere nowadays. So starting something related to a tech area, it has something to do with something in real life.
And when was the time that you realized that the technology was something that was very like significant to you?
I think mm, I knew it since I was little. I was this little boy that would play with the Windows 95 computer and moving forward to the first video games, for example, that I had. They were the Game Boy, Nintendo 64. Ever since I got in touch with technology, I knew that I wanted to study something related to it. And that's how I ended up here.
Okay, and the last question is, a person as you is 100% focused on the logical side, or do you consider that the creativity side is important too?
This is like something that happens in every engineering. As a software engineer in college, you always learn to be like a square-minded person. There's no space for creativity. And I and realized this before I graduated from college, and I gave my engineering a little twist. So I moved it from being a square to to an open box. I love design. I love colors. I love aesthetics. Those those information that I learned in courses, in boot camps, I try to apply in everything I do ever since designing the websites, designing mockups. I love everything related to creativity. And ever since I have the engineering part, it makes easier to apply what I want to create.
Okay, that will be all. Thank you so much for doing this interview and for your time.
Thank you.